plugged on. We're back with a new ranking.
It's been a little while since the last one.
Of albums. What was the last one? Montmartre.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, maybe it wasn't as long ago as I thought then. I thought it was like Anthrax.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the last one we did, the Big Four.
I think it was Anthrax. That was feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Anyways, you can watch all that. We did the Big Four. Now we're going to do some of their friends.
Iced Earth and Iron Maiden, so now...
In Trivium.
We did do Trivium. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Man, we did a lot more than this season, I thought. Alright,
yeah.
Shit, man.
So now we're going to, dip into some of the other thrash bands. We're going to do Testament.
Yeah.
Few of you have asked for us to do Testament. This is one we've been wanting to do for a while. These are always really fun to do. Because it's always fun to go back and listen to every album. And then put it all together. It's always interesting because we don't really talk about it too much. We just go like, yeah, we're going to do it and we're going to do it this day. And then we come together. And it's actually kind of interesting to see how close we actually are most of the time.
There's only a couple lists that I was where we've been like completely just like, I think Iced Earth was one where it got weird in certain spots. Or like, otherwise it's usually, I think the only one that we had almost unanimous agreement on was Anthrax.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, a lot of the Big Four we had pretty good agreement on. Iron Maiden was hard, but that's just because Iron Maiden has a fuck ton of albums.
Yeah, they do. Without further ado, let's dive into Testament. They have 11 albums. We're going to do every single one of them, put them in order. We're not doing like, First Strike is Deadly. That's them re-recording their own stuff.
Even though that is very good.
It is.
But
it's cool. Anyways, number 11, we have Souls of Black from 1990. Oh. It's their fourth album. Souls of Black is not the greatest.
No.
And I think, the title track is really, really good. And when it comes to, like, old classic Testament, it's one of my favorite Old Testament songs. That main riff is just fucking awesome. The Legacy as the ballad on this album is okay. But overall, to me, it's just... This one's kind of a snoozer.
Yeah, this was the first time I listened to this album, and it's just... Not that much really stands out from the album. The album just kind of goes and like, oh shit, it's done, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, it doesn't really... You have their first three albums, which have just great song after great song on it. And then you have this, and it's like, I don't know. What happened, man? How'd that happen? And I know getting into the 90s, times were changing, all sorts of stuff, but still, it's a disappointing album. I think one thing, too, is like, I think the production on this album is very turds.
Yeah, very much
in
so.
That, like, and I'm not saying that because it has an old school 80s sounding production. Like, Practice What You Preach, The New Order, and even their debut, The Legacy, sounded way better than this album. Like, I really don't know what's album. This album's so quiet, it's weak, it's a disappointment. Next up, we have The Ritual, the follow-up to Souls of Black from 1992. The Ritual isn't a bad album, and this was them clearly trying to be more accessible. Grunge is taking over the world at this time. You have Megadeth putting out Countdown to Extinction, Metallica put out the Black Album. These bands are trying to appeal to a much wider audience now to try to stay alive, and The Ritual's not bad, and The Ritual certainly has some solid songs on it. Like Electric Crown just jams. That song is so fun to listen to. The Ritual is one of my favorite Testament songs, period. It's one of my favorite ballads I've ever heard. It has one of my favorite solos ever. It's really good. Return to Serenity.
Yeah, Return to Serenity.
Yeah. The title track, The Ritual, is not bad either. But
Return to Serenity is fucking...
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Return to Serenity is amazing.
There you go. Fixed it.
Yeah. But like So Many Lies is okay. Like I said, the title
Signs
track
of Chaos is alright.
Yeah.
It kind of suffers, besides having a few more like standout songs, and I think some of the even better songs, I just think this album still kind of suffers from a lot of the same sort of almost backseat writing. And I don't want to call it that because I mean it's still like a pretty alright album. It's just in comparison, it's not that great.
Definitely. Next up, number 9, we have Demonic from 1997. This is the hardest Testament album, or one of them.
This album is like, I kind of like it.
I know,
like
me too.
Like it's
they're to me, I think the first 4, 5, 6 songs on here are just fucking awesome, and then it just gets a little bit too samey and kind of the same a little bit towards the end to me. But man, some of those songs open up with like The Burning Times, June. You know, John Doe. There is some heavy stuff on here. This is Chuck Billy doing more growls than I think he's ever kind of had. I'm not talking growls in like a death metal way, but in a Chuck Billy way of like he can really sound metal and just like wow, that's coming from a human with that voice, you know. And that is his whole album. Like they had The Ritual and then they had Low, which went more in the heavier direction than Demonic. They're just like fucking let's
just fucking be hard.
Yeah, it's got some riffs on it too. This album doesn't have like Alex Skolnick on it or anything. It's an interesting time period for the band too, getting to mid to late 90s. But I don't mind this album at all.
Like I said, this first time I listened to this album, I kind of enjoyed it because it's different. It is different. Like it's still Testament, but it's just like much harder. Yeah. Like, and it's just like it almost kind of, again, because of how different it is, just kind of commands your attention for like the whole thing of it. Because I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like their most recent efforts are really heavy albums, but they also have that kind of more classic sound and kind of vibes to them. Whereas also, Demonic was just like, we're going to rip your fucking head off.
And also, like, I just think the production just kind of hits harder on those. Whereas this is like a combination of everything. This album also just sounds dirty and not in like a bad way. It's just,
yeah, it really does. It's an interesting album. I would love, they probably never would, but I would love to see Testament one time. They just whip out one of these songs. It just, that'd be cool. That would be really fun. So next up we have Low from 1994. Let's follow up to The Ritual. So you had the Ritual, which was a little bit more mainstream, if you want to say that. A little bit more toned down in terms of the thrashiness. Low kind of goes back towards the thrashiness in a way, but what it does is it creates, to me, this almost creates the modern Testament sound in a way. Like, this is the really heavy, very in-your-face kind of guitar tone that they kind of have today. This is kind of where it all started to me. Low's a good album. I like it.
I fucking love the title track.
Yeah.
Hail Mary is a great song. Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears is a great ballad.
It's like it's one of their best ballads. It's up there. So I really like this album. Just from, again, because it kind of touches on even a little bit more of the where they go next album with a little bit more of the death metal and ergo even some. Is it this album or is it The Gathering that goes a little bit more black metal even at times? Might be this one, or is it Demonic? I know one of those. I know one of those three kind of. They dabble in a little bit of black metal too, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So
yeah, but man, that title track, "The Low," is just so catchy. Yeah. What a great guitar riff. Guitar riffs, I should say, in that one. There's some good ones. To me, I feel like this is the most underappreciated Testament album. Yeah. Just because there's some great songs on here. Not the whole thing doesn't come together, but you know, after The Ritual, you kind of go to this. It's pretty good. So next up, we have their debut, The Legacy. I think. Where are we? 6, 7,
5.
We're at 7.
We're 7. Sorry,
so I think 7 through
1. Well, honestly, 7 through
I think 3.
Up till 3 can all kind of
be very interchanged. However you feel, honestly, I think The Legacy is really good, and obviously has some of their most classic songs. You know, with Over the Wall, The Haunting, Burnt Offerings, Raging Waters, just to start it off. Those first 4 songs, they play those songs all the time live. And
First Strike is deadly.
That's a really good one too. Apocalyptic City just fucking jams. This is Testament coming out, being something, in '87. At that point, thrash is somewhat established for a few years. Testament comes out, and I feel like they're a little bit more just on the all-out heavier side.
Yeah.
This album has a lot more crunch to it than, in my opinion, than some of the other ones like Megadeth or Slayer. You know what I mean? Because Slayer, I feel like, focused on speed. Testament had speed, but they also had a little bit of the crunchiness that, say, like Megadeth had at the time, or Metallica. So it's good, and Chuck Billy sounds really good on it too. Very different Chuck Billy.
Very different Chuck Billy. I was also very surprised at how good this album sounds for coming out in '87. It might have one of the best productions of any of the albums that came out around that time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Whoa.
Yeah. For their debut, it sounds really good. And there's some amazing guitar riffs and guitar modes on here, like in Burnt Offerings, The Haunting.
The fucking both of the riffs they pull out during the verse of Over the Wall is fucking.
Oh yeah.
They get me going.
Very good. Good stuff. So then number 6, we have Dark Roots of Earth. This one's good, and I really like a lot of songs on here. This album is a very quick album to me.
Yeah.
It just goes by like that, like even quicker than some of their other ones to me in terms of feeling. But it has some amazing ones. Native Blood, I think, is a really great track. Great riffs. And I absolutely love the title track.
Dark Roots of Earth is great. True American Hate's good. I think Rise Up's a great opener, and I mean, Cold Embrace is a nice. It's not their greatest ballad, but I think it's definitely nothing to ignore, or to kind of write off. It's very good ballad.
And when you go, I mean, when you think about it too, like, gosh, I mean, it's over a span of a very long time because this was 2012. You had Demonic, The Gathering, The Formation of Damnation before you really get like another really true ballad.
Yeah. From
Testament. So Cold Embrace is pretty cool. But a Day in the Death of Mankind. That's another really good one. To me, Dark Roots of Earth is a good album. It's a fine album. But when you're sandwiched, at least looking at it now, because we can, between The Formation of Damnation and Brotherhood of the Snake, like
it kind of makes it pale in comparison a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. When you're following The Formation of Damnation, it's like, damn, you have a lot to live up to. But this one's a little bit different. It has its thrash moments, but it's not as just balls out. They took it back a notch almost because I feel like they kind of had to, in a way. It's not bad. I love the album art too. The album art's beautiful.
The album art's fucking great.
So number 5, we have their second album, The New Order. I love this album. I think when it comes to yeah, right, buddy. Yeah, fine. When it comes to Testament's really old school stuff, it's between this and the album we're going to talk about later. But talk about track after track on this album that is just amazing. The New Order is amazing. Every time Chuck Billy's like, the New Order's here, it's like, yeah. I love that. But Trial by Fire has an amazing main riff. And Into the Pit, obviously, is a classic. Disciples of the Watch, The Preacher.
Dave Reckoning is going to be a good song. There's a lot of just fucking great
Nobody's Fault, which I think is a Aerosmith cover.
Yeah.
Really well done. And like, this album doesn't have the balls out speed that the Legacy has in terms of like all the time speed. But to me, just the songwriting is way better on this one. And there's a reason why they play so many of these songs live, because they jam.
Yeah, especially Trial by Fire, I think. Well, no. Was one of the first early Testament songs I heard. And I'm like, yeah. That and Into the Pit.
I think Yeah, now that I think about it, Trial by Fire was the first Testament song I heard. Because...
the first one I heard was from one of the later albums. Because that was after you guys had discovered it, and you all been like, hey, here's this thing. I'm like, oh, would you look at that?
Yeah, I heard Trial by Fire because went over to one of our buddies' places that we used to hang out with a lot in high school, and he's like, dude, check this out. And we were watching the music video. I was like, this is tight. Very good stuff. Check out the New Order, man. Yeah. It's awesome. So number 3... 4, yeah. Between, we said 7 through 3. Really, I think 3, 4, and 5 are like... Yeah. You can really... Like, I think of them almost as a tie for third place.
It's really close in our thing where we were coming up with stuff. So.
Yeah. Number 4, we have Brotherhood of the Snake. Their most recent album from, wow, that's 2016. That's 2 years ago. Holy shit. To me, like, the Brotherhood of the Snake, the title track is obviously very amazing. Pale King's amazing. Stronghold. 7 Seals. Like, first 4 tracks are really, really good. To me, the thing with this one is it's just overall an extremely just consistent album. Yeah. That's just... It's not as long as the Formation of Damnation, but it hits you and then it leaves, and it has the aggression of the Formation of Damnation as well. I mean, this album hits really hard. I think I like it a little bit more now than I did when it came out too.
Yeah, because like it's a lot of other songs have kind of grown on me. Like the Number Game's kind of grown on me, and Neptune's Spear is still one of my favorite songs. Good. Like there's just I don't know if there's necessarily like a downer song on the album that kind of takes away from it. So
definitely not. I was jamming a bunch of Testament earlier today at work, and Centuries of Suffering came on. And it's like Chuck Billy sounds just so mean in that song during that chorus especially. But Stronghold is one of my favorite just all out thrash songs that Testament has. Especially the chorus. And when you have the chorus and then you transition back into the verse, just that sense of just like yes, with the aggression there is really good.
It's also, I mean, granted, it's their most recent album. It's also like the heaviest, just sound quality really wise. It's just, especially the Brotherhood of the Snake when with the verse riff, just kind of just hits you over and over again.
Yeah. Number 3, we have Practice What You Preach from 1989. This used for the longest time, this was my favorite Testament album. Because there's so many just absolutely classic songs on here. I mean, obviously you have the title track with one of my favorite thrash riffs. I mean, that riff, it's not all about speed on that one. It's about the groove. That one, I really love the beat to that song. In that verse especially. Perilous Nations, amazing. Time Is Coming. Chuck Billy's, voice during that chorus is just so fun. Time is coming. And then dun 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 dun. It's just fucking awesome. Blessed in Contempt is one I really like. I think by a million miles, Sins of Omission is the most underrated Testament song.
Yeah, Sins of Omission is really good.
It is so amazing, and it has just riff after riff that is just awesome. I would love if they just brought that one out. And also, this has the first ballad that Testament really did, first real true ballad, and it's obviously called The Ballad, but it's really well done. It shows that Chuck Billy's not a bad singer either,
Got Nightmare Coming Back to You is a fucking fun song.
I love how they have the ballad and then they have Nightmare Coming Back to You, which is such a punch in the face, and it's only like 2.5 minutes long. Yeah.
It's just, I just think also, I think this album, it kind of almost like from what we were saying about the New Order, like this, the songwriting I think is better. Well, like some of the things, like it's one of the simplest things ever, but one of my favorite parts of any Testament song is the beginning of Practice What You Preach. Mm-hmm. Like right before the main riff kicks in, and it's just I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like, oh man, that whole part. And then they bring it back like during the solo, and I'm just like, like just stuff like that. There's like a lot more of that kind of thing where it's like almost simplistic, but in a way that it works. Yeah. Like it's just like, yeah, boom, we're just gonna write a riff, and it doesn't matter what it does. It's boom, here it is. It's fucking awesome. So
agreed. Yeah, it's a really great album. Number 2, Formation of Damnation. Number 2 and number 1 are absolutely interchangeable to me. So this was 2008. Testament was on hiatus for like 8 or 9 years. Chuck Billy had some medical issues, but they come back, and man, do they come back in 2008 after such a long time away. With Alex Skolnick's back in the band, and I mean right away with more than meets the eye. I love the way that song starts with those palm mutes.
That was the first Testament song I ever heard. You guys showing me that?
That's
song.
A hell of a song to be introduced
whoa, to. What is this?
Yeah. And you get into those verses that are just so fucking heavy in the chorus. I love, the solo in this song's amazing, but I love at the end when you have the chorusy like chant going on, and then the guitars are just going dun dun dun, and Chuck Billy's like more than. It's just so amazing, so epic. It's just like what a way to come back and kind of announce to the world, like, yeah, motherfuckers, we're back. It's awesome. But there's so many great songs on here. To me, it's the title track that gets me every time. It's probably my favorite song on here, just because it has one of the most thrashy main riffs I've ever heard. And that middle section is just undeniably heavy, with Chuck Billy just so mean during that section. Just such a simplistic, slowed down, just open palm mute rhythm. It's so good. But then you can't forget the Persecuted won't forget.
That is maybe besides Practice What You Preach, that might be my favorite Testament song. It's up there. Like. The verse riff, I think, is one of my favorite thrash riffs ever written. I'm just
it's crazy.
Yeah,
that whole song is just crazy. But then like Henchman Ride is a really good one too, with just a lot of energy right out of the gate on that one. Overall, man, I mean, I think it's just a damn good album. And like we talked about Low having a great sound. Obviously, you guys can probably guess what our number 1 is at this point, but like this has a sound, dude.
It's got a great fucking.
To me, this is like one of my favorite thrash sounds. Period on this album. I love the just overall heavier tone of it. It's awesome, and it takes what like really worked in Demonic, which was like a lot of heavier sections and overall heavier sound. Chuck Billy really bringing the heat a lot of times, but then they really fused it really well with like a more old school thrash vibe at times too. Really good.
This probably, prior to listening to all the Testament albums for this list, this probably would have been my number 1. Yeah. But then after taking a second listen, and this is where I put this, I found that our number 1, I end up just enjoying that album as a whole, I think, a lot better.
Yeah. So number 1, Gathering. 1999.
Oh, God. I fucking love this album.
Yeah.
With passion.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this album is absolutely amazing. And I think it's a little bit, and it's a lot like the Formation of Damnation. They really left off on just such a high note with just an incredible thrash album that's insanely heavy. Just big, fat, thick guitars on this one. Alex Skolnick wasn't on this one, but still, they delivered just an incredible album. To me, I just think this album's a little bit more consistent than the Formation of Damnation the whole way through. And I think that's just kind of what put it over the top. But, DNR and Down for Life... God,
fucking
the whole
Down for Life.
First
Down for Life
8
might be my new favorite.
Yeah. True Believer is amazing. I mean, you see Testament live, and they do play a decent amount off of this. They play 3 Days of Darkness a lot. They play DNR, Down for Life a lot. Like, And there's a reason, because this album just is one of the just craziest, incredible, consistent thrash albums that you can listen to.
Yeah. I enjoy like a lot of the songs. Like I said, Down for Life is a strong contender now for my new favorite. I mean, Careful What You Wish For is another great song that I enjoy. I even like the last two songs in this album are fucking great. The Fall of Sippledome and The Hammer of the Gods. I fucking like love those two songs. That's like the thing, was kind of like just about every other Testament album. I kind of sit there and I'm like, and it's more like, yeah, I'm picking out songs, and it's like, yeah, and there's this one I'm just like, I think I fucking love every song in this album.
Yeah. And you think about this album too in 1999, like when it comes to thrash, especially, nobody was delivering something that sounded like this in 1999. Like, I know Megadeth certainly wasn't.
I know Metallica wasn't.
Metallica definitely wasn't.
I don't know.
Anthrax was in a weird fucking.
Who knows what the
place.
fuck Slayer was doing at that time too? Slayer was doing weird shit. It was probably right around. That's probably right around Diablos and Musica, because
it was
right before God Hates Us All. So
yeah, God Hates Us All was
2003.
One?
I thought it was 3.
Because I remember it came out.
Right, it came.
So
man.
Yeah, so Slayer wasn't. Exodus wasn't. Fucking, I know Creator wasn't. It's like, Testament just delivered something really great when a lot of the thrash bands that started in the 80s were kind of in some weird states. They came back to deliver great stuff.
And this album's like the birth of like the modern Testament sound. Like they took everything that they learned from Low and Demonic and their old shit, and they're like, let's boom, and that's kind of where this album just kind of shines. It's kind of the best of everything Testament does and has done.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, this is a little bit like, I feel like a lot of thrash albums, even today, still try to sound like this one.
Yeah,
it's just Testament's sound on this album, and it kind of started with Low, but to me, this album perfected. It's just like they truly nailed what Testament is. Like, when I think of Testament, like, I think of like the Gathering and the formation of Damnation. Honestly, probably even the Brotherhood of the Snake a little bit more now than I do some of their older stuff. I love those albums. Yeah. There's amazing tracks on those albums, but to me, when I think of Testament now, it's this heavy, fat thrash sound, and just Chuck Billy is all up in your business.
Yeah,
it's really good. Because I'm just thinking about some other thrash bands. Like, I know Creator came out with Enemy of God. Right? Was that Enemy of God?
Probably.
No, that was 2005. No. But they had some in 2001.
Was it
blanking.
Was it Coma? No, Coma came out in
the 90s. That was 90. Fuck.
Yeah,
Enemy of God, that was 2005. I'm thinking of something that came out in 2001 besides fucking Slayer.
I really don't know.
Because Megadeth was doing...
Like, that was right around... that was right when The World Needs a Hero.
The World Needs a Hero.
Yeah, that was right around when The World needs a fucking hero.
Gosh, hold on, I'm looking up. Creator really quick.
I'll riff. So, yeah, I mean, this one was... Even though...
Violent Revolution.
Yeah.
That's it. How did I forget about that?
That's a fucking great album.
That's a great album.
But, this was like... At the time of constructing it, one of the harder ones, at least for me, to construct, because it was like everything was right around the same spot, and I was just surprised how easily it came together.
Yeah,
like there's very little debate, which was pretty swifty. So
certainly, Testament has a lot of good stuff. Go listen to them. Thanks for watching, and we have more of these.
I think Priest was on the docket at one point.
I think we should do Judas Priest next.
I think Priest would be fun. I was thinking of a couple other bands, and I kind of had the thought. I was like, well, I guess Behemoth's on there, and I haven't really... I mean, I guess I could listen to Behemoth, but that would be more of a you thing. Yeah. Lamb of God would be a fun one.
Yeah, we should do Lamb.
Like, I was thinking, it's like, we've actually done most of the bands that are on this tour.
Yeah.
Now, after this, and I'll be like...
We should
do Lamb of God sometime.
Yeah, there's still a few thrash bands that I think would be fun to go through because they have some meaty discographies like Creator, Exodus.
Overkill would be pretty
Overkill?
Yeah.
Overkill has a shitload of albums.
Shitload of albums.
And I know I am not well versed in the 90s.
Yeah.
Overkill, like, at all. I know the 80s stuff. I know their new stuff. So that would be fun to do.
Yeah, but I think, Priest is a good next one.
So yeah, look forward to that at some point.
Did we do Sabbath? Sabbath?
We did not do Sabbath.
Yeah, Ozzy solo stuff. Just let us know. I think let us know. Because, I mean, we're just rattling off bands that would be cool to do eventually.
Yeah.
What do you guys want?
Exactly. Let us know. Thanks for watching. See you later.